The purpose of this show was to showcase the different talented artists that live, work sometimes, and create in Greenville, Jersey City. And they are in the creative process. And there's a lot of joy that comes from being in that process, being part of the community, and now being able to showcase their talents.
Like I said, the concept was Doors to the Past, and I was inspired by a dream. The ancestor came and told me to carve it in. So just connecting those two concepts together, I use doors because when you open a door, you're entering a space. Or when you're closing the door, you're just leaving that space or you're done with it. But mine is to open, to enlighten the people regarding the African culture, the richness and everything regarding it. I've been studying African dance and African percussions. So when I went back to school, I started with the carvings inspired by the African culture, which is also related to my culture. I did research with Ancestry and 23andMe and found out that we have Cameroon, Benin, Togo, and there's another one that I can't remember at the moment. But yes, so I do feel a definite connection now with the pieces that I have created before I have realized that we're actually what area that I actually came from, my ancestors.
The whole thing with the Bethune Center just kind of just fell on me by surprise, to be honest. You know, I got a call interested in putting me in a position at the Bethune Center as a director. And I was like, I don't direct people, you know. I was like, I mean, my background's in art, you know, I'm not really kind of, you know, what is the Bethune Center? You know, because I never even really went there at that time because I, you know, didn't even really know what it was because I never really had much of a reason to go. Because I was very, you know, community active. And that also comes from just my upbringing in Baltimore, because growing up in a family that was heavily involved in the civil rights movement, my grandfather and father, it's just kind of, I guess that part of it just came natural to me, you know, just being involved in where you live. And, you know, it changes things that you want to see changed, you know, not just talking about it, but actually, you know, participating and trying to help make a difference. So that's kind of how I got to know him. And then when he called me and asked me, I said, okay, I'll give it a try. And so I went there and, you know, I was in the office, like I said, you know, dealing with a staff, you know. It was a little, you know, it was a little bit out of my element at first. You know, as far as, like I said, managing people, dealing with the public on that level and stuff like that, because it's still like a community center. But I was excited about it just because I felt like I saw it as and still do see it as a creative job, because it gives me a chance to create things on a different level. You know, I mean, it's still making art, but still, you know, bring programs to an area or bring programs to an environment or a neighborhood that hasn't had any of this stuff, or a lot of people that may not have been exposed to anything. So that was kind of a fun challenge, and it still very much is and stuff. And you know, overall, it exposed me to a lot of things that I may not have paid attention to, you know, beforehand, or, you know, things that I may have, you know, had a preconceived notion about or whatever. I hope, you know, I define it as a cultural center, you know, most of the time. It's with / community center, because we still you know, use it for community space. The public uses it for that. But I like to view it as more, and still in the process of metamorphosizing. So the Bethune Center still has a lot of room for growth. You know, I mean, it's like I said, I think what we've done there so far is kind of just, you know, the budding beginning of it. First, you got to kind of just get everybody used to what you're bringing in. You know, it's not as simple as kind of like build it and they'll come. I thought it was, but it's more like build it, educate them to it, let them get used to it, and then they'll come. So it's good to see that a lot of the classes that sometimes I thought, or some of the programs that I'd initiated there even a couple years ago that I was getting kind of skeptical about, are starting to take off.
Project Greenville. It stemmed from the idea of not only getting more people from other areas to explore our neighborhood and have some reason to come to the area and see that it's not as bad as it's sometimes portrayed in the news, but also as a way of letting people in the area be able to have music and art close by rather than always having to go to a different neighborhood of the city. I mean, they're usually visual arts. I try to combine them with something else. Yesterday we had a young lady, Sophia Oro, singing and playing guitar. We usually try to incorporate music. Sometimes we get spoken word or poetry. We've had people do other kinds of performances here. We had one of the TEDx gave we were a tryout space, so we had all kinds of things that day. We had people giving talks, we had a martial arts demonstration, just something to do, something different in the community to come and check out for free.
I'm an artist that doesn't do prints at all. All of my work is original, and I present all my work framed simply because it really is sensitive and is a medium that is really fluid and moves. Alcohol ink is sensitive to alcohol, so although I varnish it with multiple coats of varnish and protect it from UV rays, an additional layer for that, if someone were to splash alcohol on it, enough of it, it would actually start to move again. And so I always keep it protected, and each one of these pieces are individual. I can't create it again. The ink does what it does, and I always think of myself as almost like a master of that ink, trying to manipulate it and make it into something beautiful that I'm comfortable with. Not necessarily pretty, but something that strikes an emotion, something that people can connect with or tell a story from. And that's not something that I'm able to do over and over and over again. And so each piece is unique, and that's what makes alcohol ink so exciting for me, is that I don't know what's going to happen.
We wanted to tell the story of one city, one people. As much as there is art on the opposite side of town, there's plenty of artists that exist here.
Beauty can be found in the strangest of places, or you just don't know where it exists, and it could exist anywhere. And if you can't highlight that, you wouldn't know. So if we can do that, we will. And this is the first of hopefully many exhibits like this.
All of the wonderful artists that have participated, Gregory Charles, Eben, Catalina, Jennifer Brown, who gave us such wonderful, moving images of the just candid shots of the neighborhood that people could relate to and see themselves in. To be able to speak about the current you know, residents in a way that is highlighting their bliss, joy, and happiness.
Exactly.
It's a really important element of the show because she documents many things in the city, but here she is capturing the essence of Greenville. That we are happy, and we are so much more than people know. But they will.